Hello Year 5. Welcome to some more reading of The Butterfly Lion. We're really coming to the end now. We've got 4 chapters left. So this next chapter is called A Miracle, because it is a miracle. He found his white lion cub. So the last chapter ended with him kind of the white lion coming up and stroking, rubbing himself against Bertie's leg. Millie obviously being a bit scared, and the lion's obviously in a really bad way, and so's the Frenchman, the owner of the circus. So he is hoping that both the Frenchman and the lion do okay. A miracle. The lion eyed Bertie for a few moments. The yowling stopped and he began to grunt and groan with pleasure as Bertie smoothed his mane and scratched him between the eyes. "Remember me," he said to the lion. "Remember Africa?" "You are the one. I am not dreaming this," said Monsieur Merlot. Now, my class know my French accent is perfection, so hopefully the 5A also agree. "You are the boy in Africa, the one who tried to set him free." "I've grown a bit," said Bertie, "but it's me." Bertie and Monsieur Merlot shook hands warmly, while the lion turned his attention on me, licking my hand with his rough, warm tongue. I just gritted my teeth and hoped he wouldn't eat it. Imagine that, a white lion, fully grown, coming and licking your hand. "I did all I could," Monsieur Merlot said, shaking his head. "But look at him now, just skin and bones, like me. All my animals, they are gone, except Le Prince Blanc. He is all I have left. I had to shoot my elephants, you know that? I had to. What else could I do? There was no food to feed them. I could not let them starve, could I?" Bertie sat down on the bed, put his arm around the lion's neck and buried his head in the mane. The lion rubbed up against him, but he kept looking at me. I kept my distance, I can tell you. I just could not get out of my head that lions do eat people, particularly if they're hungry lions, and this lion was very hungry indeed. You could see his ribs and his hip bones too. "Don't worry, monsieur," said Bertie. "I will find you food. I will find enough food for both of you, I promise." The driver of the ambulance I waved down thought at first that he was just given a nurse a lift back to the village. He was, as you can imagine, a little more reluctant when he saw the old man, and then Bertie, and still more when he saw a huge white lion. The driver swallowed a lot, said nothing all the way, and just nodded when Bertie asked him to let us out in the village square. And so, there we were, half an hour or so later, the 4 of us sitting outside the cafe in the sun, the lion at our feet, gnawing a huge bone the butcher was only too pleased to sell us. Monsieur Merlot ate a plate of fried potatoes in complete silence and washed it down with a bottle of red wine. Around us gathered an astonished crowd of villagers, of French soldiers, of British soldiers, at a safe distance. All the while, Bertie scratched the lion's head right between the eyes. There's a nice kind of picture there of the scene. "He always liked a good scratch just there," Bertie said, smiling at me. "I told you I would find him, didn't I?" He went on. "I was never sure you really believed me." "Well, I did," I replied, and then I added, "after a while anyway." It was the truth. I suppose that may explain why I took all that happened that morning so much in my stride. It was amazing, surreal almost, but it was no surprise. Surreal kind of means like in a dream state, like it's just too strange to be true. A prophecy come true. The prophecy is like a prediction. So a prophecy come true, like a wish come true, and this was both, can never be entirely surprising. I'll read that sentence again. I suppose that may explain why I took all that happened that morning so much in my stride. It was amazing, surreal almost, but it was no surprise. A prophecy come true, like a wish come true, and this was both, can never be entirely surprising. As we sat there outside the cafe sipping our wine, the 3 of us decided what should be done about the White Prince. Monsieur Merlot kept crying and saying it was un miracle, and then he would wipe the tears from his eyes again and drink another glass of wine. He liked his wine. The whole plan was entirely Bertie's idea. To be honest, I didn't see how it could possibly be done. I should have known better. I should have known that once Bertie had set his heart on something, he would see it through. As we walked the lion down the village street, Bertie leaning on the lion, me pushing Monsieur Merlot in the wheelchair, the crowd parted in front of us and backed away. Then they began to follow us at a discreet distance, of course up the road towards Bertie's hospital. Someone must have gone on ahead to warn them. because we could now see a huddle of doctors and nurses on the front steps, and there were people peering out of every window. As we came up to the hospital, an officer stepped forward. A colonel it was. Bernie saluted. "Sir," he began, "Monsieur Merlot here is a very old friend of mine. He will need a bed in the hospital. He is in need of rest, sir, and lots of good food. The same goes for the lion. So I wondered, sir, if you would mind if we used a walled garden behind the hospital. There's a shed in there where the lion could sleep. He'd be quite safe, and so would we. I know him. He doesn't eat people. Monsieur Merlot here has said that if I can feed the lion and take care of him, then I can take him back to England with me." Well, what do you think the colonel's going to say to that? Some young guy coming up and saying, "Oh yeah, this lion, can we keep it in the grounds, please?" "The brass cheek of it," the colonel spluttered as he came downstairs. "Who the devil do you think you are anyway?" he said. And that was when he recognised Bertie. "Well, you're the fellow who won the VC, aren't you?" he said suddenly, a lot more polite. "Andrews, isn't it?" "Yes, sir, and I want to take the lion back to England when I go. We've got somewhere in mind for him to live." And he turned to me. "Haven't we?" he said. "Yes," I said. It wasn't at all easy persuading the colonel to agree. He began to soften only when we told him that if we didn't look after the white lion, no one else would. And then we'd have to take him away and get him shot. And then we would have to be taken away and shot. A lion, the symbol of Britain, shot. Not at all good for morale, Bertie argued, and the colonel listened. Because, we have the 3 lions on the England shirt. Lions are a symbol of Britain. So the idea of during the war, we have to take this lion and shoot it. It's kind of not going to be really good for the soldiers. And obviously not very good for lion. It wasn't any easier persuading the powers that be in England to allow the lion to come back home when the war was over. But somehow Bertie managed it. He just wouldn't take no for an answer. Bertie always said afterwards that it was the medal that did it. That without the prestige, which means kind of the renowned, without the prestige, the recognition of the Victoria Cross behind him, he'd never have gotten away with it, and the White Prince would never have come home. So if he hadn't got that medal for bravery, for going back in and rescuing people, then maybe the White Lion would never have come home with him. But because he was kind of well known for being so brave and being a hero, maybe they allowed him to do this. When we docked at Dover, the band was playing and the bunting was out, and there was photographers and newspaper reporters everywhere. The White Prince walked off the ship at Bertie's side to a hero's welcome. "The British Lion comes home," roared the newspapers the next day. Lovely use of the word roar though. So he came back home to Stourbridge, Bertie, the White Prince, and me. I married Bertie in the village church. Hey. I remember Bertie had a bit of a disagreement with the vicar because he wouldn't allow the lion inside the church for the wedding. I was very glad he didn't, but I never told Bertie that. Nanny Mason adored both Bertie and the White Prince, but she insisted on washing him often because he smelt. The lion, not Bertie. Nanny Mason stayed on with the 3 of us, her 3 children, she called us, until she retired to the seaside in Devon. And that is the end of that chapter. So the White Lion's come home, Bertie's come home, he's married Millie from the lady from the story at the beginning. So it all seems really positive, but then as an older lady, she has hinted quite a few times that this hasn't got a happy ending. So there might be some sadness to come, but I hope we can manage it year 5. I hope you still enjoy reading the book along with myself and Miss Bradford. She's going to read the next chapter, which is called The Butterfly Lion. Okay, thank you. Speak to you soon, year 5. Bye.